Court was created in 1976 in South Carolina, and 200 years before that, the Constitution was, you know, we did our independence and all that, and shortly after that, the Constitution was formed. So the Constitution gives everyone guaranteed rights, and the Sixth and Seventh Amendment are not being upheld in family courts in South Carolina, nor probate courts. And they're going to tell you that it's a civil court. Well, if it's civil, then you shouldn't be able to put somebody in jail for a civil action. So that would make it criminal. If you're going to jail for jail time, or somebody can put you in jail, that is a criminal offense. I mean, being locked behind bars for a civil action, wait, you're making someone a criminal. You're taking away their freedom. And so I'm going to tell you two of the things. One lawyer told me some very good information that before family court was formed in 1976 in South Carolina, we had basically just magistrates courts or county courts doing family courts. And back then, he said that you could ask for a jury trial for a divorce. I was like, well, that's cool. Right now, there are 2 states that have jury trials in family court in some fashion or another. One is Texas and one is Georgia. I don't know the extent. I haven't studied that yet. But there was a judge here in Charleston that said the number one way to solve a family court case in Georgia is to ask for a jury trial, because no one wants to have their dirty laundry aired in a jury. So I was, the judge made that sound like that was a bad thing. Wait a second. If you ask for a jury trial, we'll call it a mediator or prosecutor that would say, okay, let's try to work this out so we don't have to waste the court's time with a jury, and the cases get settled faster. Well, wouldn't that be a positive thing? It would be less actual court time, because yeah, that'd be a positive thing. Now, another thing about this is I was told about Title 4D, which I know about it. I haven't studied it yet, but I'm going to do that. It's a federal law. And the other lawyer said if you, don't follow the federal laws and you make your own rules, then you lose federal funding. Currently, the way I understand Title 4D, and I haven't, studied this to figure this out, but I've had other people tell me that the family courts are getting about 60 cents on every dollar of child support exchanged between a mother and a father. So that means if a father is paying, say, $300 a month of child support, then the family court is getting approximately $180 based on that explanation I was given about Title 4D. So that means, wait a second, so if the court gets money for every father or mother they put on child support, instead of working things out where the child gets equal time with both parents, which is the best for the child, by the way. And I'm talking about firsthand experience, and I'll get to that later. So then that means that if courts across the United States are incentivized to put more mothers and fathers on child support, because then that means what? The federal government gives the family court more money. I'm going to have to look into that and verify that. Another thing is about Title 4D. Based on that, I mean, think about it. They're taking mothers and fathers out of children's lives. The day before divorce papers are filed or court papers are filed in family court, the child had equal access to both parents in most cases, because they were married. But the moment court papers are filed, one parent gets most of the time put on every other weekend, so like 4 days a month. So, but the most of the time when that happens, it's the father that gets put on this every other weekend and 1 week of summer and the 3 summer months. And they call that standard visitation. Standard visitation, we need to redefine that presumption, and standard visitation needs to be 50-50 custody, where the mother gets a week. She drops the child off on a Monday in the morning at school. Father picks the child up Monday evening from school. And then the following week, the father drops the child off Monday morning. at school, and the mother picks the child up. So the child gets a week with mom, week with dad, week with mom, and it just keeps doing that thing. And that is actually proven to be the best option for a child, because when you take the father out of the child's life, and we all know this, when you take a father out, father's discipline different than mother's. Everybody's been in a situation where the mom says, I'm going to tell your dad, and you beg your mother not to tell your dad, because your dad's, most dads are going to jerk a knot in your rear end. So the stats are there that if you take the father out of the child's life, anything good that they can accomplish goes down, anything bad they can get into goes up. So all I want to do is give all the children who parents, because one of the things is, a child did not divorce the mother or divorce the father. The child still loves both parents. So to give the child, and I'm talking about this from firsthand, and I'll explain this in a minute. I'm not just a father that's going through the family court system as an adult, but I was a child that went through the family court system as well. So back to the week on, week off. So it's proven that when that child has both parents in their life, they have the same success rate as a child that has a mother and father in their life. So now, why would I want jury trials in family court? There's a few reasons. One, the number one reason is so you or anybody that goes through family court has an opportunity to have a fair system. Now, here are the things that I think why we need jury trials in family court. Not all judges are doing this, but there's a lot that give an example. When, say, somebody walks in the courtroom and they don't have a lawyer, and the other spouse has a lawyer, and the judge starts a conversation with the lawyer and is like, oh, hey, how you been? You still living at the same house? Oh, yeah, Judge, how you been? Wait a second, what is going on here? And then the judge speaks to, they appoint what's called a guardian in family court to supposedly be for the child's best interest, but that's a whole nother issue we're going to get into. But, and the judge starts having a conversation with the guardian. So in these scenarios, there are opportunities. That's one scenario. Another one is, the reason we need jury trials is because there are relationships between judges and lawyers. And people say, no, there's not. And if that's the case, I'll sell you the Ravenel Bridge for $1 and you can spray paint it whatever color you want. So another thing, in criminal court, when you ask for a jury, what happens? The judge is not a decision maker. The judge is just a referee for the rules. Now, as a new lawyer out of law school, if you get into family court business and you're like, man, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to do great for parents, and you got all these great intentions, what you're going to soon realize is, if you're not part of that clique of the lawyers and part of the system, you're not going to win very many cases, because there are new lawyers and the names of those lawyers, and who you are out there, where you had all the evidence in your favor, and you should have won, but all of a sudden the judge decides for the other guy over there that's been doing this for 30 years. Hey, stop that. And so the only way to break up that relationship, and if you'll say, oh, there's nothing going on like that, really? Every industry. So it's basically like this. There's the same players. And then this is also in a lot of cases too, where they'll create a storm around the child and keep the conflict going. So basically what happens is the two parents exhaust all their money trying to fight each other, and who gets rich in the process? It would be the lawyers in the case. And they're not, they'll tell you, oh no, I'm going to try to win this case and all this stuff. But think about this. If the case settles, does the lawyer get to make any money? The answer is no. But if the case keeps going and there's a storm around the child, who gets rich? The two lawyers in the case. And a lot of them know each other. So the only way to break up this relationship is to have a jury. Because guess what? A jury. Let me see if this is still going. Yeah, it's still going. So the only way to break up this is to have a jury, because a jury does not care about the relationship that the judge has with a lawyer. This would give more wins and for a lawyer who's brand new in the family court system, because if you try a case, this is the way I would look at it. Now think about this for a second. And I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'm just a regular Joe, and I like to study things and make sure things are done right. But I have put my life on the line for the Constitution. I wrote a blank check. Worked on the flight deck, arguably the most dangerous job, second most dangerous job, sorry about that. Arguably the second most dangerous job in the United States Navy is working on the flight deck. First is Navy SEALs. And those are that's another thing we're going to get into about judges in courts that I learned tonight. All right, so let's see, where were we? All right, well, let's skip to that, then I'll come back to that. So speaking of Navy SEALs, our judges need to be the Navy SEALs of lawyers. And I had a person tonight say, oh, well, I didn't join the Navy because I'm not that perfectionist. And I think, judges should have more chances. If they screw up, I don't know, a few cases, that doesn't matter. Wait a second. Whoa. The Navy SEALs, and speaking of the flight deck, you do not get any mistakes. People die. Well, if you screw up one child's life or one father's life or one mother's life as a judge, that should be the end of your career. And they're going to say, no. Well, wait, whoa. If you want to be a judge in South Carolina, just like if you want to be a Navy SEAL or you want to be a Top Gun pilot in the Navy, you are asked, or think about this, or the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds for the Air Force, you don't get any mistakes or people die. So if you mess up somebody's life, you do not get a second chance to do it again. End of story. So why would we not hold our judges to the same caliber we hold our top military to? Why not? If a lawyer wants to become a judge in South Carolina, the standard of practice should be the Navy SEALs of lawyers. I don't see an issue with that. And if you don't want to be the Navy SEAL of lawyers, then stay back and be a lawyer and do whatever you want if you don't have that caliber of perfection. But we have to have that caliber of perfection. Just like working on the flight deck, man, you don't get any errors at all. People die. And my opinion is if you mess up one family member's life, that's the end of your career. Go back to being a regular lawyer. You can still make the same amount of money. So I'm going to end this here. Been talking a lot, but like I learned tonight, the federal thing, Title 4D, I got to study up on that. And I am looking forward to your vote. And District 15. And I'm running. And I'm in. And I cannot wait. And that's just one issue. Roads, some of you might go, what is this whole judicial thing? Oh, and that's a whole nother thing. I'll say this for another time. The Judicial Merit Selection Commission, where legislators and legislators get to select judges. Wait, that's a conflict of interest. A lawyer legislator gets to select the judges that they are going to be practicing in the same courts with. Wait a second, how does that work? That's like conflict of interest. And that's not separation of powers. There's supposed to be 3 powers. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's a whole nother issue we'll cover later. So I learned a lot tonight. I'm looking forward to being your representative for House Seat 15. And I have 13 months. I'm going to officially announce this thing sometime towards the end of this month of October. And then we'll have 13 months. That's right, 13 months. And from now until then, you're going to see I still have a lot of things to have put on my website to catch everybody up on the entire, like, I'm an open book. You're going to find out who I am. I hope through this process of, you seeing me go to different events, and as you can see, if you'll check out the website with the media part, with the issues part, just check out every single page that's on there. You're going to find out exactly who I am. And as a contractor, as a real estate broker, and as a CWP instructor, I mean, I strive for perfection. And it's all about, in my life, it's, I love a challenge where, I'm going to leave you with this, what's called a BHAG. A goal that is a BHAG goal. Big, hairy, audacious goal. I learned that when I was with Cutco. There's a book on it. And it's a corporate book on, big, hairy, audacious goal. One of the things I learned about setting goals is that when you set a goal, you tell people your goal, they laugh at you and say, you can't do that. And they just laugh at you. And you know what? When you set a BHAG goal, big, hairy, audacious goal, and they're like, there is no way that can be done. Are you kidding me? Like, that's almost impossible. You can't do that. I love that kind of challenge. I absolutely thrive for that and love that kind of challenge. Because I've done that in the past, where back in the summer of 2000, there was a kid on the West Coast that did it in 1999, sold $20,000 worth of kitchen knives in 10 days at the biggest conference of the summer for Cutco. And I watched his little video the beginning of the summer of 2000, and I was like, you know what? That is crazy. And I told everybody, I'm going to sell 20 grand in 10 days. And everybody thought I was crazy. Do you know that's $2,000 worth of kitchen knives a day for 10 days straight? And the kitchen knives are like $35 to $80 a knife. How are you going to do that? You can't do that. And I want you right now to go on my website, votecarltonwalker.com, and click on the Hall of Fame thing. And it lasts about 30 minutes. It's 4 parts. Back then, YouTube wouldn't let you put but 7 minutes up, or give or take. So watch those 4 sections, and you will see I don't give up, and I will accomplish goals, and I will accomplish BHAG goals. And this whole thing with changing the judicial system in South Carolina, man, that is a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I had this lawyer tonight say, good luck, you are not getting that done. Okay, I had people tell me I couldn't sell 20 grand in 10 days. That's cool. I promise, as your representative, I will study, I will figure it out, and I'll make mistakes, but eventually I will figure it out to make it happen. I don't see why we can't have jury trials in family court, because we used to have them before family court was established in 1976, when they were held by county judges. It's just a matter of getting in there and being a squeaky wheel. Oh, and another thing I said tonight is there are more veterans than there are lawyers. And we all gave an oath to defend the Constitution with our lives from both foreign and domestic enemies. And that is the whole thing. I need all the veterans in District 15 and who are outside of District 15. If you can't vote for me, I don't have it up yet, you can donate. And this is just the beginning. And I know everything that I'm focused on is for the best and making things better for every citizen in South Carolina, but mostly important in District 15. Judicial reform, parental rights, we're going to cover that over the next few several months, and also the infrastructure stuff. Like today, I had a conversation with the mayor of Goose Creek via texting about that intersection in Goose Creek where St. James and it's Red Bank Road crosses and turns into St. James, crosses 52, getting that intersection fixed with an overpass and a bypass and all that good stuff. And he mentioned that it was like $150 million, and nobody can get it done yet. Well, we put me in the game, Coach. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm going to leave you with this each time. This is what a little special kid wrote about me. And I want to make that happen.